Hello, my name is Danielle Osterman, and this is my cute buddy Spook. I am in 5th grade at Sunflower Elementary in El Centro, California. The students in my class are required to create a PKP project. PKP stands for Passion Kids Project. My passion project is about animals because I love animals and I love hanging out with them. I have an essential question to help guide my learning while doing this project. My essential question is, can animals improve the personality of people young and old? That means, can animals help make people happier? I interviewed 2 people about this topic. One was Miss Marsha Botwell, who does therapy with horses, and the second was Mike Burke, who does therapy with dogs. I asked them a few questions, and I hope you enjoy listening to their responses and that you are inspired by some of their stories.
I love your project because your passion is my passion. And I had that same belief when my kids were in school, but I had that same belief that horses, animals could improve the quality of life for other people. And I wanted to put it in practice. So I started with a friend's daughter. And this little girl had been in a crib for 3 years. Didn't know how to talk, didn't know how to walk. So when she was adopted by this other mother, she of course had many emotional problems and a lot of trouble in school. So I thought, well, she loves horses. So what we'll do is we'll do her homework and we'll do the reward, going riding. And so we did do that. And then I ran into Faye Rawls, who was out at IDC doing the therapeutic riding program out at IDC with disabled student services programs. And she took me to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And there I learned that from the time of the Greeks, that hippotherapy had been used, that philosophy has been alive for many, many years, where people use the horse for therapy. There is an article in the Alive magazine about pet therapy and people who are taking the dogs to the hospital. So there are many ways that animals improve the quality of life. How about you come home and you've had a really hard day and you're just a little bit tired and sad, and you open the door and there's your dog greeting you at the door going, "Oh, you're home, I'm so glad you're home, oh, you're just so wonderful, oh, I love you." It's hard to have a bad day when my Doberman named Stumper, I love that dog, she greeted me and treated me like I was a queen. And I didn't feel like an underdog when I came home. When I came home, I felt like a queen because this dog thought I was special. Cool.
Okay, my essential question is, how can animals improve the personality of people young and old? I wrote down a few questions about this topic. So, 1, what do you do with animals?
I am a therapeutic riding instructor. I went and became credentialed in therapeutic horseback riding. And our mission statement for here at Animals Plus is that we want to improve the quality of life for our students mentally, emotionally, socially, physically, and spiritually. We find that the horses can affect all 5 areas.
That's cool. So, number 2, what made you choose this as your hobby or business?
I chose this as my business because I had a belief that the horses could be used to improve the quality of life of people. And as I began working towards getting training and finding out what other people were doing, I found out that hippotherapy is therapy with the horse, and the Greeks were doing it back in the era of the Greek Empire. So it is not a new concept, but it was brought to the United States in the 1950s. And there are many, many centers here in the United States that do therapy with horses. And so I chose this as kind of a life's work. I do love the Lord, and I do think that this is a way that I can be used in a ministry to help other people.
That's very interesting. So, can you describe a time when an animal made a person happy or feel good about themselves?
One was not long ago. One of my past students has come back and started to ride. She's an adult. She has 2 older children and a baby, and she needed to kind of recreate, and defrag a little bit. She came out and she started riding, and she was so ecstatic over something as simple as getting a correct lead at the canter. She was smiling, she was happy, it just made her day. And then there are others that have dealt with friends committing suicide, and they've come and they've just brushed the horses, and they've been around other people, and they've been able to just put that horrible, horrible thing kind of in perspective, or find a way to deal with it. The horses are very non-judgmental, and you can say whatever you want to them, and they don't feel one way or the other about it. They won't condemn you, but they will give you a relationship, and they will respond to you.
So, how do the animals who work with the horses react or respond to them? Do they feel scared at times, or are they mostly happy?
We have students that are as varied as the people, right?
My guess is if I turn around, we probably have a small parade.
So, I have a few questions to ask you about this topic. 1, what do you do with animals?
Well, I train dogs. I've trained dogs for tracking, obedience, protection, police, narcotics detection, search and rescue, cadaver. I'm a certified evaluator for Therapy Dogs International, so I certify dogs, test and certify dogs for therapy dog work.
Well, that's cool. 2, what made you choose this as your hobby or business?
Well, I've always worked with dogs, always loved my dogs, and when I was in the 6th grade, I trained my first German Shepherd to off-leash and hand signals. And I've just always liked to have, if you're going to have a big dog, you need to have them well behaved, otherwise they can get into trouble and hurt somebody or hurt you.
Mm-hmm. So, can you describe a time when an animal made a person happy?
Well, animals always make me happy, but when I work with other people, I do programs. I do it's called Doggy Tutors, and where we would go into the Nyland School District, and they would send kids into the library that were having problems reading and socializing, and they would come in and sit down and read to the dogs. And you could see the teachers would say how in the classroom the kids didn't like to read, and there were some that didn't talk to other kids, but when they were introduced to the dogs in the reading program and they got to sit down and read to the dogs, they actually fought over who'd get to read to the dog first. And they always looked forward to the Fridays when we'd come with the dogs so they could sit down and read. And there was one time that we had a little girl that not only would she not read, nobody in school knew what her voice sounded like because she refused to talk to anybody in the school, including her classmates. And they sent her into the library, and in 5 minutes she was reading to the dogs. And it turned out she was a good reader, so we had her stay and help the other kids read. And by doing that, it helped her to socialize and start talking to the other kids.
That's good. So, how do the people who work with the animals react or respond to the animals? Are they afraid or are they mostly happy?
Most of them love animals, so I usually ask when I go into different facilities like convalescent homes or assisted living facilities if there's somebody that doesn't like animals, and if there's somebody speaks up and says they don't like animals, then we respect that and we stay away from them. But most of the time, even the ones that say they don't like animals, by the time we leave, they're petting the dog and talking to the dog, and so we win them over.
So, I think that's it. Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Sure. That was easy.
Do animals also help people with disabilities?
Yes, they use animals for assisting all kinds of people with disabilities, and those animals are called service dogs. And I work with an organization in San Diego called Next Step Service Dogs, and we train service dogs free of charge for veterans. And I just worked with a veteran a couple of years ago from Yuma that had TBI, which is traumatic brain injury, and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And he had a 10-year-old daughter, and he'd never been able to go to any of her school functions because he wouldn't leave the house. He didn't like being in crowds. And by the time we finished with his shepherd and his wife, I went over and visited with he and his wife and their daughter. And his wife says she got her husband back because now he took his daughter to school, he went to functions with her, and with his dog at his side, and he went shopping in the mall and grocery store, and totally, liberated him from being a prisoner of his home.
Amazing.
And you read about things like that happening all the time. And I've been working with the group in San Diego, and there's you work with several veterans that they all have dogs that are in training, and you help them out with, we could make trips to the mall with the dogs and work with them on how to handle some different situations. So it's fun.
I hope these interviews gave you a better explanation of how animals improve life for people of all ages. I received an answer to my essential question while doing this interview. My answer to the essential question, which is how can animals improve the personality of people young and old, is answered by a yes. I hope you enjoy watching this video and are inspired by Marsha Botwell and by Mike Burke. Thanks for watching. Bye!